Alright, video, couple of subjects, I think. I think I'll hit the Thunderfoot thing, but maybe I'll wait till the end of the first part of the video, because then I'll be more angry, and I can be even more indignant or something. But we'll see if I can get more indignant. Anyway, so the John Paul Dorn video, actually the interview video, it's kind of amazing. I mean, 43 likes, 0 dislikes. I mean, it has me in it, and there's 0 dislikes. I mean, that's just, I haven't seen that before. And that's even with a crazy troll is, just making a mess on the video. I don't know what John did to take care of these kind of idiots. I mean, look, if somebody's going to make more than 2 or 3 comments, that'll be enough right there just to say, fuck you, go somewhere else, moron. But it's all in caps, and just these gratuitous insults. I mean, it's just such a, what's the fucking point of letting an asshole like that loose? But anyway, to be serious is another asshole. And so, yeah, she always got to throw her little 2 cents in. And her last 2 videos have sort of been pointed again. She's sort of implying that somehow people don't know what they're talking about. And somehow she knows that, And she's doing it in this totally disingenuous way. Like, well, sometimes I forget my car keys. And I leave them on the counter, and I go to the car, and I can't open the car. And sometimes other people talk complete shit on the internet. She's somehow combining these 2 things, and just to see, just to pretend like she's somehow guilty of it too. But she won't bring up the actual circumstances where she basically slanders somebody else based on false and phony and bullshit information. But anyway, we won't go there. Yeah. But anyway, so another habit of hers is to do this bullshit crap where she posts a comment and then she posts another comment, double-spaced usually, where she has to correct minor, stupid little spelling mistakes, where this is just such a colossal waste of time. I mean, if somebody's going to even understand your paragraph of bullshit or your 2 paragraphs of bullshit, they're really probably going to be capable of adding an ing to a fucking word. So you doing it for them is kind of just wasting a preposterous amount of time. I mean, if it was a real functional mistake, like it actually said something exactly the opposite, I can see correcting it. But INGs, adding INGs and we's is just kind of silly. So anyway, like see here, E should take pitchforks to power, E. So she has to add the W. We have to have a correction. We have to re-add the W. Oh, I mean, just what's the point of that? All right, question mark. Even a fast look at the history of violence will show that it never works in the long run. This will stop suffering. All right, so this is just such a... I don't know how anybody could look at history and not look at any progressive movement that took place in history and not recognize that it took place through violence. The violent overthrow of the evil monarch, the Nazis. I mean, look, we can go back to World War II. Violence solved the problem. It's just the truth. All right, using violence to aggressively do something is evil. Using violence to stop evil is not evil, quite obviously. All right, and I'm totally opposed to violence. It's a last resort weapon. You don't use it as a first resort way of enslaving people or getting some fast money or, selling arms and making money on an industrial complex. Yeah, that's fucking evil. All right, but there's a point where there's no progress without it. There was no progress in the United States of America without killing the South and their ambition to create a separate nation that was a slave state. There was no living with the Nazis, even the Japanese Empire, but that was sort of a provoked war. And then we go back to the origin of it. Go back to the French Revolution and the writing of the Magna Carta, which is the blueprint for the American Constitution, which is the blueprint for almost every other democracy on this planet right now. And it didn't happen because the poor sat around saying, "Damn, I can't wait till I have an election." I mean, the fact of the matter is we are in a really bad circumstance in the sense that democracy is stagecoach stupid. It's not so much that democracy has failed, it's that we're not given anything to vote for. We are given a Russian, communist choice of shithead or shitheadier. That's what we have on the ballot. And if anybody shows up who's not a shithead, the only way we can vote for him is to ruin our capacity to stop the worst evil from winning. All right? Because there's always going to be a spoiler because of this stupid two-party system. Because we don't have proportional representation in legislatures. We don't have an ungeographically biased democracy. We have a democracy that represents us based on where we live, not based on what we believe in. And that's a catastrophic failure. And it's clear that the progressive parties are not going to give us a progressive democracy because they're owned by a special interest, a minority of people who want a handout, who are going to control that party and prevent the loss of their power. Okay, there's small minorities, 20% populations who control politics because they have a veto. They can veto anything any progressive change. They can veto it. The religious right can veto it. The government workers can veto it. And so we have these diverse interests that have a veto vote, so it's almost as dysfunctional as United Nations. You create a United Nations and then you give 5 countries a veto. What sense does it make? You don't have a democracy. You have a monarchy built out of 5 kings. And there's 5 or 6 kings running the United States of America. The industrial complex, the teachers union, the government workers, the loafers, the filthy, disgusting, grotesquely over-rich. Those special interest groups are running the show. They're the ones with the veto. So no policy that offends one of those asshole groups, the right-wing Christians, let's throw them in, any policy that offends one of those minorities is dead. Because everybody's afraid of losing those votes. And that's the fucking catastrophic failure of our democracies. And like I said, it's obvious that the progressive democratic-style liberal parties are not going to give us what we want. You had a goddamn liberal running being your prime minister, and what the hell did he do? Right, he got you into wars all over the world. He went and had made love to George fucking Bush. I mean, you goddamn should be throwing up over there. That's what your fucking liberal party did. I mean, you went from John Major to a fucking sellout, and then now we've got the sellout. Change. Change what? Yeah, what? What? Change the color of the drapes in the White House? Fuck this shit. So if you think something's going to happen, something's going to change without something forcing the change, well, newsflash, it's just not. And that's just a tragic, sad, pitiful truth. I don't have a pitchfork. I'm not interested in violence. I'm just saying that these people can't be fought. All right? I did it for 10 years. 10 years of filing lawsuits, trying to get minor, tiny bits of justice. And you can't get it from these people. You can't fight a fair fight in the goddamn arena. They won't let you. So the only way you can fight them is to boot them the fuck out of your country. You got to kick them out. Didn't you have to kick some of your kings out because they were a little out of control? You didn't just sit there and ask them to leave, did you? No, you scared them into leaving. And, that's all. I'm just saying that this system is not going to get fixed. Progressives don't have the power, and that's just the truth. These minority groups are going to drive us into the fucking ground. And unless somebody revolts, unless something happens to stop them, that's what they're going to do. Because it ain't going to happen through any kind of protest. You're not going to protest your way out of this fucking hole. So anyway, I'll read the rest of her bullshit. And Occupy Wall Street was a total failure. ? It was a total failure? Well, what has it accomplished? Again, how has it changed the balance of power one tiny, tiny frickin' bit? All right? I mean, we got people applauding Newt Gingrich. I guess not everybody has heard the news. Here's a video from someone who was arrested when he protested on the steps of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And arrested for what? Not playing by the rules, right? Right? Isn't that what these people get arrested for? They don't get arrested for free speech. They don't just make a YouTube video saying, I think government policy is stupid. I think we need higher taxes on the rich. No, they get arrested for that. They're getting arrested because they won't even respect enough of the civil law that says this is where you can protest and this is where you can't. They can't even do that. They can't even exercise their free speech in some kind of civilized, ordered, and disciplined manner. They have to provoke a conflict. And then you're complaining that there's some violence from the system at them? And you're just not making any sense. Yeah. Washington, he hadn't heard the news because he's actually still worked to do something to outsmart power. Well, I don't know exactly. Like I said, if they have a plan to outsmart power and they're not running a candidate in the system, I don't exactly understand how the fuck they're going to outsmart anybody. All they're fucking doing is letting power know that there's a few of these disgruntled out there, and like Nixon, they're going to start strategizing. Well, how can we get these assholes into prison where they belong? I mean, that's where we got drug laws from, right? Because the right wing said, well, how can we eliminate 1 million registered voters? Oh, that's right. Let's just throw them in fucking prison. So they're going to probably figure out a way just to throw all these disgruntled in prison. Okay? And that's all that they're accomplishing. They're just giving the rich enough notice to know, oh shit, we ought to be afraid because some of these guys might cause some trouble. So let's get them buried. It's a stupid, idiotic movement. It has no coherent objective. It has no policy. It's nothing. It's worth nothing. If I went there with a policy plan, a 10-point plan, how many of those people protesting Wall Street would go for it? Right? As soon as you say something like, well, I'm going to have a 90% tax on all inheritance over $2 million. Okay, 30% of them just left the room. Right? So on every single policy, those progressives are going to leave the room. And as soon as I say anything about being accountable for your behavior, like higher penalties for drug use, where you violate somebody else's welfare, where you harm somebody else, you pay a higher price, all right, for that violation if you're under the influence. Oh yeah, if I try that on those druggies doing all this protesting, the fucking hippies, yeah, how many are going to leave the room, to be serious? How many are going to accept accountability for their behavior? Oh, that's right. Yeah. So this is just bullshit. It's a bullshit movement. It's a waste of goddamn time, and it's destructive to the goddamn cause. It's not organized. Like I said, run a goddamn candidate. What would be so fucking hard for these guys to find one person to put up there? I don't care if he's... I don't care what he's been... I don't care how dirty and stinking and rotten his personal life has been. I don't care what a rotten character he is. As long as he says Obama's an asshole, he's got my vote. Not resort to violence. Well, again, there's a point where there's no other resort. What is the other resort? We have fucked around with Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican for the last 40 years, and what has it gotten us? Oh yeah, the rich are richer than they've ever been before. Okay, they've got more money than they've ever had in the history of the United States of America. So that's what we've got out of the system. Absolutely nothing progressive. So, fuck you. Alright, now on to this Thunderfoot bullshit. So yeah, I just, I noticed just because my thing here searches on individuals' names. So it does a search on Thunderfoot. So a ton of people have posted these sympathy mirror videos for this stupid, idiotic, inane Thunderfoot video. Alright, so there's a ton of them. I mean, 100, 200, I don't know. A lot of them. And this is just so inane. I mean, in the first place, the video is stupid. Because Thunderfoot's calling a guy on a duplicity, on saying one thing and doing another, when the guy is reading somebody else's statement. He's reading somebody else's statement, and Thunderfoot is accusing him of saying it himself. I mean, what sense does this make? He's reading from somebody else's writing. So the accusation he's making of facepalm, 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 facepalm is bullshit. And so this whole tactic of taking somebody else's video, all right, and not portraying it honestly, okay? He also takes it and he edits it, so he cuts off pieces of it that have the website on or some other thing, and that's kind of a bullshit move. So he edits it, and he quote mines, and then he does this shit on top of people. Now this is just bull, this facepalm, rubber stamping shit on top of people. I could sit here and I could just play a Greytex video and I could throw, strawberry jam at it. Is that a mature response? Is that how fucking people should behave? And if you're going to have an argument with somebody, then at least be honest to their argument. And this is not honest to this guy's argument. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit tactic. If you have to resort to doing this shit on top of people, you know, this monkey shit, all right, it proves your weakness, Thunderfoot. That shows that you are weak. You have to use buffoonery to defeat his argument. You can't argue it. You can't just make a counter argument or demonstrate it in some sort of scientific and intelligent manner. No, you have to act like a fucking monkey, and people are going to reward you for it. So anyway, the whole thing is stupid anyway. The guy who runs the website that posts this guy's videos filed the DMCA. I don't think there's any chance in hell he's going to file the lawsuit, so it's a false DMCA. That is correct. Okay, but the bottom line is that this is a bullshit behavior, and there's no real threat that the video isn't coming back because the guy's not going to file the lawsuit. So you're whining because a video was taken down for 2 weeks or 10 days after it had already been viewed by a couple hundred by whatever. I didn't see the view numbers on the original video, but I'm sure it got the substance of its views already. And you're whining about your fucking free speech. This is the shit you assholes are worried about while you're sitting there living in a fucking country where you really don't even have a right to vote. Because you don't even have a right to have a candidate to vote for. And this is the bullshit that you worry about, is that somebody doesn't have the freedom to take somebody else's video and buffoon on top of it. Fucking idiots. And somebody's supposed to be hopeful for the prospect of us avoiding complete annihilation in a grotesque and disgusting tumble down a staircase a retard should be able to walk down. We should be able to gracefully get out of this trouble. But we're not going to be able to do it because the fucking human race is such a goddamn idiotic monkey that it's not going to be able to manage to walk down a simple staircase. Fucking your big fat clown shoes aren't going to allow it to happen. Because that's all you are. You feed on this kind of nonsense and this crap. This is what you call an intelligent argument. You know, face bomb, face bomb, face bomb. Oh, laugh tracks. That's how you live your life, based on a laugh. Some fucking laugh track tells you when something's funny. Pitiful. Idiots.